Ciao amici, I'm Master Leo Spitzeri, live on location at Pizza University Culinary Arts Center, and we're on our final day of classes here. We have an amazing class that we just went through 3 intensive days with a guy who's not only a master, but also a very great guy, Mr. Peter Reinhardt, who's in the background over here, helping a student complete his final exam, which is a practical exam of making a pizza. And one of these students that I'd like to tell you about made an amazing pizza, and he's talking about a dessert pizza, which it's not traditional for, let's say, a final exam pizza, but it was delicious nonetheless, and I'd like to show all of you how we did it. I'm going to introduce you to my friend Jeremy Frank. He came all the way from Canada. What part of Canada are you from?
Vaughan, Ontario, just north of Toronto.
Just north of Toronto. And to all of my friends in Woodbridge, Toronto, all the Italians, I'd like to say, ciao! How are you guys? So let's go ahead. I'd like to see your technique for stretching this dough. Is there anything special that you do with this dough to stretch it?
One thing that's different about this dough is that once we have our stretched pie, at that point we're going to have to dock the dough so that it doesn't rise all up in the middle like a pie would or a souffle would.
So for those of you who don't know, docking is a technique that's used to kind of help degas the dough, and especially as it's rising in the oven, it'll keep the dough from puffing up like a pillow. Or those of you familiar with maybe the Greek pita or any of those types of breads, we don't want that big open interior. We want it nice and flat, but still open in area. Please go ahead. Okay. So as you guys can see, Jeremy's putting down a little bit of flour, and what he's going to be doing, he's going to eventually grab his dough here, and he's putting this dough into the flour, and then very gently. This is a technique that we use here in the school. Was this the first time that you worked in this method to stretch the dough like that, where you're kind of getting the gas to one side? I saw.
No, I've done it before, but certainly this you guys have been able to help me. Not that I perfected it, but I'm certainly doing it a lot more effectively now than I had been before.
One of the things that he does, since he's not a professional, he is a professional, however, doctor. He's a psychiatrist.
Psychologist.
Oh, psychologist, please. He's certified that I am physically stable, I'm not crazy, and that I am a typical Italian is the way that he said it. So I'm very happy to hear that I will survive to the next round. And again, I'm very happy for your diagnosis, doctor. All right. Now, what's the next step here?
Next step is we're going to dock it.
Now, you'll notice that Jeremy is using a fork to make these docks. A lot of times in the professional world, you might see us go very quickly when we do this. In Italy, you might typically see them using maybe their fingernails to go through the dough. In the restaurant world, there's also a tool called a docker, which looks like this medieval torture device, if you will. That's a roller with a bunch of spikes on top of it. And what he's doing, again, he's doing a great job to make all those docking holes. And this is going to keep that dough nice and smooth and flat. From here, what's the next step that you're going to do?
Next step is we're going to add on some sugar in the raw.
I guess the idea of what you're going to do here, if I'm following along, is that you're probably going to launch this into the oven. And then almost like we would make a creme brulee and we torch the sugar to make that caramel on top, I have a feeling that that's what's going to happen on Jeremy's pizza here.
There you go. You got the peach.
Look at that technique. That was a backhand technique, guys. Not forward, but backwards. You saw how he did that. Go ahead, pull straight back. And a boy, open it up nice and neat. There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
It's fantastic. I love it. I love it.
A little bit of snapback, so it won't be as big as we could have made it.
But I think it's better. You probably don't want it too long, right? Yeah. There you go. Go ahead, fire this off. Now, first of all, what I want you guys to notice is the technique. He's bringing the pizza to the peel, and now he's going to put the pizza into the oven because they bake better in the oven. Did you see, guys? He stopped the peel, pulled straight back, and it laid on the deck exactly the way that it was on the peel. He also did an interesting thing, and I love this because he paid attention in class. The wood-fired oven that we're using, which actually right now, even though it's a wood-fired oven, today we're using it with gas. This is the Mara Forni. This is a 110 oven, meaning 110 centimeters on the surface area. The way this oven works, he's working in the mouth of the oven, which is the coolest part of the oven. Do you want to grab a peel over here, a turning peel? Atta boy. Nice. It doesn't probably need to give it a second here. It doesn't need to be turned yet. But as you can see, if you want to get in, Daniel, come in kind of close over here. Can you see all those beautiful little bubbles that are popping up? That's because of the technique of the docking. All of a sudden, those little air bubbles that are in there, they're coming to the surface. But if you didn't put the little holes, this would be like a big giant pillow. It looks amazing already. Now, going back to this, the way that heat works inside of these ovens, flame rolls over the dome. We call that convection, right? And in your home oven, you probably have a convection oven. This oven actually is an engineering marvel, because it actually introduces three different types of heat. The first one is that convection, because the flame is blowing that gas, right? Which then turns into our fuel. Then you have the induction, right? From the heat from the dome rolling down onto the floor. And then you have radiant heat, which is the stones that are hot, heating the bottom of our pizza. All three of those together create the perfect bake. But now, when you're here in the mouth of the oven, as this convection is happening, the coolest part of the oven is here at the mouth, because in exchange for cold air going in, the hot air that's coming out is going here up the flue and out the roof. Right? If we did our jobs right, we don't lose a lot of heat through the roof. And I will say that pizza is done. Look at this little peel. Put it over here because I don't want to drop it. There we go. Put this down. Bum, bum, bum. Awesome.
Put some Nutella on.
Nutella. In my opinion, we can never use too much. The stirring action over here, I would say, is probably because Nutella has a tendency to separate. So the oil that's inside keeps that Nutella very viscous, right? Keeps it moving. And by giving it a stir, you'll take something that's thick and make it liquid again.
We also wanted to do this as get the Nutella on as quickly as possible to take advantage of the heat of the pizza, which makes it easier to spread.
That's right. So the residual heat of the pizza is warming up the Nutella, making it easier to spread. You can see that shine of that caramelized sugar that's now been bruleed on the base. And this is going to take a normal pizza dough and make it from savory to sweet. What are you going to do next to it so we can get going and finish this up?
I'm going to add some of my favorite fruits, some banana, strawberry, spread them out fairly evenly.
Bananas and strawberries look beautiful. Great. This is amazing. Look at this pizza. There you go. Look at the contrast on that. You're doing a fine job. That looks amazing. How do you finish this now? What's the last step that we do?
Last step is we're going to take a little bit of powdered sugar.
Now, guys, on behalf of me, Leo Spazzeri, and our friend Jeremy, and all of our friends out there in social media and YouTube land, I would like to thank you all for visiting with us today. If you'd like to learn more about Pizza University and Culinary Center, please visit us at www.pizzauniversity.org. Ciao.